January 29th, 2023. Time index right now is about 33 after 3 in the evening. How's that grab you? John Sears, from California, area, the Reaver named John Weaver. That'd be me. Anyway, I've been going over the Facebook posts in the memory section. Sometimes I'm grateful for it. Yeah, sorry. Allergies, damn bugs. I'm grateful for the memories that it stores and it archives in different sections, different years. As the days progress from day to day, within a year period on that day, it shows you how many postings that it'll pick up on. Personal and other postings on that day that may or may not be suitable for posting or not. But the personal logs were the more interesting at this point because they were telling me what my memories were back then, with the things I was going through. And I was reliving 2003, 2013. I was reliving 2015 as well. And it was hard as hell on both days. I mean, it'll progress back to certain time periods. It's a pretty weird damn thing, but it still works. As it's going year per year progressing on that date. That's where I get to see some of the stuff I'm posting, memories of places long ago, political crap. But then it gets to the personal stuff, and that's important to me. That's way important to me because now it's showing me what I've forgotten or probably didn't want to remember of how survival was in 2015. I'll jump to 2013 when I talk about it. In 2015, my brother and I were already gone through the eviction process. 25 or 26, I think. Somewhere in that area that my brother and I had been kicked out of the trailer home. We had used the death benefits of Mama, her life insurance, as a down payment, and we tried to use my brother's Social Security to keep up with and what was left of my workers' comp situation and disability, state disability, to keep up with the payments on the utilities. But the rent and the lease, they jumped beyond what we could prove and what we could deal with. I mean, for about 4 or 5, maybe 6 months, half a year, we were okay at the rate that they had, slow, but then they jumped it up increasingly. And we didn't see this coming. Both me and Dave decided during that time that we weren't going to deal with it, so we weren't going to pay for it. They're going to have to kick us out. Dumb schmucks. We didn't have the money to go to court and take them to court on this one. Though free legal aid wasn't like in Los Angeles County, current sucked. My brother couldn't get any help. So for several more months, they would have to deal with us there before they kicked us out. We barely had 2 Christmases. In January, we really had to sell the stuff, or otherwise we would have to take these people to court. And they did take us to court. We had no representation, just us. We lost the case. Gave them legal grounds to evict us during those days. So out of the trailer park, we get kicked out. We got evicted out of our own home. We took what was what we could. I mean, we sold off a little bit what we had. Wasn't enough. That's for the stuff we kept behind. We took the clothing with us, and anything else we could try fitting into a damn storage truck. And then we got the hell out of there. Everything else was left behind. A lot of memorabilias, a lot of things I didn't realize till I kept thinking back in these days. And overnight, those years ago, Dave and I were freezing our asses off behind an AA meeting hall. It was cold that night. We were allowed to come back into the meeting hall to warm up, get some coffee, use the restroom. But it was hard to sell for us to deal with it. We were making the plans and going over to the Salvation Army that morning when we woke up. We still had gas in the truck, so everything that we owned was still in there. Bags of our clothing, dog food. The rest of the knickknacks were put into a storage unit. What was left of it, anyway. Cooking gear, sleeping gear. I mean, we did have some sleeping gear, but there was only so much we could only carry in bags. And if we had gotten out of the truck, we would really have a problem dragging that shit, but we did. So we, that overnight, that lousy overnight stay at the meeting hall, getting more coffee. We made our way over to the Salvation Army, waited for them to open up. We got a little breakfast from them. But we also got a hotel voucher for that day's stay, and while they started the process of getting us another place to live, or helping us, but it took them almost a month to do this. We still had to find a place to live for about a month. Now, an overnight stay at a motel helped us to shower, change, sleep in a real bed for a moment. Sorry. Allergens because of the damn bugs and stuff in here. Give me 1 second. I gotta take care of the nose. Sorry about that. It was a Motel 6 that, or was it the Best Restaurant? One of those two. That was accepting the vouchers from the Salvation Army. As long as we didn't make any noise and anything else going on. My brother decided to go to a meeting when we had ourselves situated with the hotel room for the night. And when we can get back, we can get some sleep. But after that, we had to be out of there. So just for the few hours we were in that motel room, we felt a little safe. But still, it was better than sleeping out there in a cab. Knowing that eventually we would have to turn the damn thing back in and we would be stuck in the streets. That's exactly what happened anyway. But after our talk with the Salvation Army the next day, and the veterans group that they contacted, they were trying to find us in a secure place, an apartment. But it took a while to get that place going. Luckily for us, in Roseman, the far end right next to Edwards Air Force Base, the place you see me broadcasting right now, they were trying to get this place going. At least there was a roof over their head, but for about 3, almost 4 weeks. The hardest thing for my brother was the day we got evicted, he got the bombshell notice that his his father, Harry Shaw, there are a lot of stories my brother told me about him. Different and unique perspectives on how he was and how he treated my brother and everything else in between. Some things I'm just going to be describing about maybe a little bit later, or just let it go and just let it go and just not talk about it. I'll only met the guy once. But my brother had tried to really deepen the connections between him and his. I would have called him a biological sperm donor until he was actually showing how much of a father he was, because that second Christmas came in handy for us. When I had a gift card that was autographed by him, I wish I kept it. A loaded Walmart gift card. But the message behind it made it clear that he considered me part of the Shaw family. I guess that made it more endearing, because it meant I was accepted into another family, my brother's side of the family. I think my brother tried to tell me that I was always accepted in this family. It's just he felt he wasn't accepted in his own family except by his own sister, Patsy Jean. I talked with her a couple of times in my lifetime. She was a good. She still accepted me as her brother. Don't know about the other stepbrothers though, but according to my brother, before he passed away, I mean, he had several wives, several divorces, and most of those actually had kids. A lot of stepbrothers my brother had. I only met a few of them. Some of them actually didn't like him when he was growing up as a kid. As an adult, I don't know. There's a lot of cousins, nephews, and nieces that he had. One of them, theoretically, was reportedly working out here in Roseman, California, with a family of her own. I have yet to meet her. I've been trying to reach out, but there's been nothing, so screw it. Even after David's death, I tried to reach out. Nothing happened. But back to the story. So about 3.5, nearly 4 weeks, we managed to get ourselves a motel room. Whatever kind of fun day we could scrape up was one thing, but I had to keep pleading for help. Thank God, and I'm thanking God on this one. Actually, on a lot of things, everything. Actually, everything. God is good. God is good. That I actually had a roof over the head, a comfortable bed, and a shower. It may not have been the best eats, but we managed what we had, and what was left of the dry food we were parceling out for the dogs to eat and drink water like crazy. We were walking them left and right. Tried to keep them happy. I had my Papillon Terrier mixed little boy, black and white. And we still had the mamas. You've seen her. Little boy died a few years later from a stroke. Before my brother passed away. Hardest damn thing to deal with, both like that in the same year. Never a good thing. But that particular year, 2015, every day I was on the Facebook pleading, and we'd have somebody donate. The story of my brother was out there, which was the truth. My brother, veteran, struggling, homeless, dogs, caretaker, or caregiver actually. We needed rent for a motel room until the place got taken care of, and then finally, few weeks later, we got contacted by Salvation Army. We had to give up the U-Haul truck, otherwise we'd be charged with theft. They got their truck back. Still in good condition. Our stuff was out of it, and we had it with us in the motel room all that time. As long as the rent was being paid, even week by week in the place, it still gave us something to work with. And Dave and I kept trying to keep us going. But to be honest, I think we were still scared shitless about the whole situation, and that's all right. It's all right to be scared shitless about the situation because we were still in a precarious position of getting evicted. We still didn't have a home in those 3 weeks, except for the roof over the head that we called a motel room. They say any place that you can hang a hat is home. Well, if you happen to lose your heart several times, you don't know what home is all about. So you lose it, and then you realize what the hell the place was. Did I consider the motel room a motel room or just, well, I called it safety and sanctuary, called it a lifeboat. Back in early February. Here. After my birthday, actually. We got the news about the place here. They had it ready. There was no furnishings in it, just empty, but there was still the roof over the head. Ma always drilled it into Dave and me. Always keep a roof over the head. Doesn't matter if you got the furniture in, as long as you got a roof over the head, you got something at least. She was right on that point. So, Dave and I signed a lease, moved what little furniture we had. We had somebody in the program help transport us and our gear all the way over to the apartment. That's where we had to wait, fill out the paperwork. Rolled right in, and here it was. Right next to the window, we had our gear spread out. We had access to a bathroom. We still had toilet paper with us. That's a good thing right there. Borrow someone's plunger when we needed it. But we slept on the floor. I carried with me all that time the old CPAP machine. That thing's been through enough as it is. At least I was sleeping, or trying to anyway, on the floor, with just two things. One, which was poncho on the bottom and a poncho on the top, and that was it. And that was hard enough to dealing with it. Among the stuff that we tried to get through and with help with a couple of friends of ours, we got some stuff loaded up in a truck. Cooking gear, MREs. Well, even the MREs were food. Don't argue about that shit. And we had to get back over to the food giveaways to get our stuff and get back home. Well, we did. We actually had a roof over the head. We also gotten some furniture from the veterans group. We actually had beds to sleep in. We had dressers. We had table. We had chairs. Well, eventually we killed them. Leaning too far back on those damn things, we busted the backs on those. I still have one surviving chair left. It's still in my bedroom. No. The one I'm sleeping in right now, anyway. And we got the dressers. And that's alright. And with a couple of neighbors over here, long story with one of them, we were actually able to make this place livable. Then I was really starting to think about going back over to college. I'll talk about those when I get a chance. Jumping back now. As I said before, looking back into Facebook memories of the postings I've made back in 2013, we were on the cusp of getting kicked out of the damn apartments we were at over to Montecito, Nil Intent, in Lancaster. 37, I think, was the number, or 39, one of those two. Handicapped, accessible, on the ground. We had it for about 5 years. Apparently, corporate wanted to kick us out of there for some stupid ass reason. We fought, we lost, got relocated. But in the process, though, that's the thing. Looking at the stuff that was going on, Ma was coming in and out of the hospital so much that fire department and the fire captain was having a field day with us. They kept saying, "How come you didn't put your mama in a nursing home?" So this is the home she wanted in the first place. She didn't want to ended up in a nursing home. And besides, we made a promise to her a long time ago we'd never do that to her. We had seen, my brother and I, how things were when it came down for relatives being put in nursing homes, and we didn't like it. It turned into vegetables. I believe there was a memory somewhere deep in my archive in here. Aunt may have been transported from San Francisco, where she had to say goodbye to her husband, who died. She was mourning and grieving and had to stay down here. But down here in LA County somewhere, or in San Diego County somewhere, that she was placed in a nursing home by one of my uncles, one of my mother's brothers, under his care, but not really, because she'd be in a nursing home close to him. He was supposed to keep track of her, and apparently not. And she just stared on in at a wall. Turned into almost a vegetable. Ma and I couldn't deal with it, I guess. I guess we visited her down there in San Diego County somewhere. And she decided she was going to bring Aunt May back home with us. I mean, she stayed temporarily over at Grandma's house until it got to the point where they were going to be living with us in one roof in a place called Arleta. It took a long time on that one. But finally managed to get Aunt May and Grandma, Mama, David, and me under one roof. And then Dave and I had to fuck it up with a damn car accident. Destroyed the only car we had available. Rehashing of those stories I got to do later on. Because during that time, I was coming home from recovery from the hospital because an accident happened. It was still hell. I remember celebrating my birthday uncomfortably at home in Arleta. As a young kid turning 10 years old and the face smashed in and bandaged up like crazy, and the nose being plugged up with tape to sop up all the excess blood and stuff in there. And I had to eat through my mouth, drink through my mouth, breathe through my mouth. Man, you talk about uncomfortable as hell. And it was held during 76 because I had to catch up on that one. My jump in decades, back to the point. Ma was already inside, going in the hospital 2-3 days sometimes at a time. Get stabilized, brought back home. Stabilized, brought back home. Stabilized, brought back home. Did they ever tell us during that time that she was dying? David knew. He kept trying to tell me for weeks on end that he was seeing a decline of Ma. and that she was dying, and I had to prepare myself for it, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to deal with the concept that my mother was dying during that time. I still had hopes that she'd get out of bed and walk around a bit. I was looking forward to that. Boy, was I wrong. Train that you hear in the background. Try waking up to that early in the morning in a motel room. But after a while, I got used to the whole damn thing. Well, I can get used to noises like that, but I couldn't get used to the idea that Mom was dying. I didn't want to deal with it. I was seeing a nightmare coming true in front of me, and it was terrifying as hell. I had a sick feeling in my stomach that it was coming to it, and I didn't realize it. I didn't even want to realize it. I was terrified of the whole damn prospect, of everything of it. Dave and I were going to be left alone. Then what the hell were we supposed to do? Everything was falling up on my brother's shoulder to figure shit out. I just agreed with everything. But he still needed me to be there with him to hold him up. And that's what we tried to do. I mean, all throughout our lives, last 30 years more, since David got to clean and sober, we tried to watch each other's back like crazy. In fact, even as kids, we tried to watch each other's back. And I thought David had more street smarts than I did. I had nothing. What the hell did I have? I had nothing. I only worked my ass off for a hell of a long while. Then I got injured at a damn job by damn near getting killed by a damn tire fall on my face. Tossed out my ear from Walmart. Yeah. I felt like my life was ended. And the mom was dying. What the hell was I supposed to do? I tried to sleep as well as I could. I tried to sleep as best I could. But I was still afraid of that day coming. And it did came. It came all right. It was during this time that David was feeling the pressure so much in his heart that he was getting angina attacks. Even he had to go to the hospital, get it checked out, and come right back, and his primary care physician would be yelling at him. He had a lot on his plate. I don't care how many explanations or any reasons for that one, Dan. He was dealing with a hell of a lot on his plate. He was already having a bad enough heart as it is. And I thought I was the one with the bad ticker, and he was the one who's supposed to be the nut job. My mother always joked with us throughout our lifetimes. He was having more problems with his bad ticker than I had. I was in the hospital. David had to be in the hospital every once in a while, and I had to be stuck. Not doing all the transportation. He still drove. What was wrong with me? I kept telling people I was scared shitless of driving. I still am. I was terrified of the idea of me dying behind a damn driving wheel. Because of an incident that happened back in 1976 that I was a passenger, it didn't matter. Things got screwed up in my brain during that time that I did not want to die behind a wheel. I wasn't the one driving, but it didn't matter. That was not going to happen to me. And it kept me all these years from actually being a competent driver of sorts. Dave thought I still was competent, but I was too scared shitless. And I said, yeah, damn straight, I don't want to die behind the wheel. And they both knew it. Didn't matter. I was an emergency relief driver, and I had to drive. I had to have the license all that time. Not anymore. Not anymore. ID, that's about it. I never wanted to drive. Sometimes I do miss a good ride, but sometimes I'm getting into that point where I'm getting uncomfortable with riding either. I get into a bus and I'm not exactly comfortable these days. I'm not comfortable in transportation, period, unless I'm walking a damn thing myself. And I still have to manage and gripe and grumble about the damn thing. Other than that, I'm staying home all the time. Myself physically, emotionally trapped behind the walls. Or even I face the possibility that if I don't keep the place up, I'm going to get affected again. And I got no place to go. Seeing the things on the postings are bringing back a hell of a lot of crap going through. David and his heart issues ongoing. And then Mama dying. And I'm afraid. I was afraid then. I'm still afraid now. But not as much. But back then, yeah. Back injury, trying to go through the workers' comp, trying to get through state and Fed Social Security disability. Workers' comp was still paying off. Instead of the medical services all the damn time, I said, fuck it, I'm going to not deal with the medical services. I was a fool. I should have just added mental to that one, but I didn't. I didn't know at the time I was going to be needing the damn services like I do now. I was dealing with the back and neck issues. Pop in Tylenol or actually Tramadol and Motrin and I'll be fine. Space out, but I'll be fine. Mama at the time was dying. She was talking to voices all the time. She was having conversations with her dead relatives who were trying to tell her, that's going to be okay, it's going to be a process, but you're going to get through this, Marianne. Dave and I didn't hear a damn thing. Ma was hearing all the damn stuff, and she was trying to tell us about it. We thought she was going through dementia and having hallucinations. If we ever bothered to feel the ambient temperature in her bedroom, we would have felt that there was cold spots in the whole damn place. Did we ever take notice of this thing? Nope. You go into her warm room. Everything's nice and comfortable. All of a sudden, you get chilled down to your bones. And you don't know why, and you're looking around. Maybe it's the air conditioner chilling your ass out. Nope. Wasn't it? Mama was laying down all the time. Get propped up every so often. The 31st is coming up of January. Day after my birthday. I barely remembered how we celebrated my birthday, but we did. I don't remember the details on that one much. But I remember waking up in the middle of the night, I know for weeks or months on end, I guess. Ma would still want her either pomelos or she would wanted her bacon, eggs, or even both. Midnight rats, we called it. That's what was to us midnight rats. My brother called it mid-rats. Midnight rations. Thing when he was in the Navy, he was telling me about. There'd be 3 times that they would actually have cooked hot food on board ship. And then everything got turned into brown bag lunch or brown bag foods. Sandwiches, chips, and what they call bug juice. Basically it was fruit juices and stuff. Fruit punch. They call it bug juice. No, there weren't any bugs in the damn thing either, but it was just a name they had all that time. So, my brother and I would fix the mid-rats for Mama. Bacon, eggs, toast. And pomelos. This time she didn't do the bacon and eggs and the toast. She was doing the pomelos. Dave and I managed to get over to the Trader Joe's, and we managed to get to the local market, rate them of all the pomelos they had. Ma was going to have her pomelos regardless. Regardless of what the doctor said concerning about the interactions between the citric acid in the juice and how it conflicted with some of her medications. Certain medications have a problem with concerning about citric acid. Orange juice, lemons, anything else that has it. Even pomelos and grapefruits. Ma was hooked on pomelos for the last 25, almost 30 years of her life. She was introduced to it a long time ago when she worked at a company called Jan29. The county controller over there. And they had Sunday food, well, farmers markets, actually. I was trying to search for the words. There'd be a farmer over there, a guy named Gene, comes from Ojai. Farm out there. He grew a lot of produce, including pomelos. Ma tasted one of the samples over there and she fell in love with it. We appreciated a great deal about Gene and his farm. Because he had the pomelos, we kept raiding. Yeah. God rest his soul and God bless his soul. So, Mama died. We had a pomelo still stuck in the refrigerator. We kept it in the refrigerator for several months until we had to get rid of it. I mean, it was in there perfectly preserved for a long while. It was just losing its flavor, but it was still there and intact. The hardest damn thing was the week after Mama died. Her life insurance, my brother was still trying to get the process to pay for the cremation. We were looking for a place to do the cremation, and there was our cremation van right in front of us. Screenshotted the whole information on the back of the truck. Contacted them. Got things taken care of for Mama and for us. The jewelry is still up in there in the cabinet with their ashes in it. Well, a replacement jewelry's in there anyway. David got an angel I had a cross. At one time in a county building, they were going through the metal detectors, and I lost the damn cross and never got it back. I think somebody swiped it. Swiped my mother's ashes. I never forgave him on that one. Never. Trying to take care of, get my damn cross off, and then they lose the sons of bitches. Man, I was pissed off at security and the sheriff's department and everybody else over there all that time. Stole my mother. Well, we got back our mother and the ashes that she's still in the container back there. There was a picture of Milo and Mama, me and David. I carried the pomelo. Some people carried a teddy bear. I carried the fruit. Something Ma loved. It still hurts like hell when I especially look at the damn thing in the first place. But basically, on this particular date, it's coming up to the end of it, of her life. It's bad enough to keep seeing her coming in and out and having the damn fire department on her ass all the time. My brother had to argue with the fire chief on this one, politely but firmly. She's at home. This is what she wants. We told the county that. We told the fire department. We told the sheriff's department on that. My brother was trying to argue with these guys about it. She wanted to die at home if it was going to happen. If we had bothered to look at the damn advance directive and kept it out, she would have. Instead of spending about nearly 18 or 19 days of hell in a hospital with a tube stuck down her throat. It was only about maybe a year earlier or 2 years earlier, somewhere in that time period, that Ma was battling with an infection of pneumonia. She barely got past the damn thing. She was going to be coming home with the antibiotics. They didn't even bother to get her exercise during that time because she'd lost muscle mass and the ability to keep herself up. She falls down to the ground when she couldn't even get into a damn wheelchair. I put her back in the bed, readmit her again for a bit of time. Actually, when we were trying to transfer her, she had already been discharged. I argued with Kaiser on this one. That's where we found, through sources and through Kaiser, that there was a rehab facility out in Sun Valley my brother and I had to transport her to. Now, this was the hardest damn thing. When Ma was going through this thing, I was still working over at Walmart. They'd make the visitations with her. And some days when I actually had days off, I'd be going out there and helping out and seeing what was going on. Sometimes off shift, that would have to happen. But we'd see her to her. After about spending nearly a month over there trying to get her legs to work, barely working, but they were working anyway, just to get her from the bed to the wheelchair, and then after that from the wheelchair to the car to take her back home. And she was getting used to the food. Dave and I found it very difficult to deal with. Sometimes I had to take days off from work just to do that shit because I had to take care of Ma. David was doing the primary, but it was still my job anyways as the youngest son. Still do it anyway, so. But after I lost a job in October of that year of 2012, I was just 24/7 at home. And during this time, 3 o'clock in the morning or nearly 4 o'clock in the morning, sometimes I'd wake up and just listen if she was still breathing or not. It scared the hell out of me after I gave her that pomelo that she was gurgling. Scared the hell out of me, but I didn't realize what the hell it was. It was a death growl. There was a cold spot. There was a cold spot in there. I kept kidding myself and kept telling myself, if I'm writing stories about Angel and God and everything else, writing my own series on it, I thought I was well connected with God and the angels. So why didn't God tell me what the hell was going on? I felt like I was filled out of the loop. How dare you do this to me? All the stuff I kept writing about him and his angels, and you're doing this to me? How dare you? After I found out about who was supposed to be over there, especially when Ma kept telling us, I'm not quite sure if it was Raphael or Gabriel in there. Probably Gabriel. But that was, it pissed me off. I think I was pissed off more at God about that one. He took Ma. He couldn't even have an angel to talk to me or David about what the hell was going on. What the hell kind of bullshit was this? I was livid about the whole thing. And I was terrified about the whole thing because we were losing Ma. And she did die. I mean, first, February 1st, Gabriel's going to be taking her. But nope. Decisions changed. She said to stay there for a few weeks until David and I get some things tried to work out. And then she finally passed away on the 19th or 18th, one of those 2 days of February 2013. And during that time, we were still having problems concerning about the rental situation and going to be going to court and still eventually losing the damn place in the first. And we had a few months to battle with these guys, and we stayed and we looked for different places left and right. Eventually, that's where we ended up out here in Roseman, in the frickin' trailer park. We hadn't realized it was going to be temporary during that time, but there was no other place for us to go anyway. They rented an apartment complex, long wait lists. Housing market out here sucked. Waiting lists were up to yin yang concerning about LA County and even Kern. And we were grateful at the time of having a place to call our own, the trailer home. And for a while, we tried to make it our own. We tried. This was one of the hardest damn things for me to keep talking about. That day of days of February 1st coming up. I still have the emotional nightmares about this damn thing haunting me, not to mention the memories. Every time I keep trying to drum the damn thing up because the tension level is in here. The fear level keeps increasing. And I'm scared shitless. I'm scared shitless because I lost Mama. And I couldn't deal with it. I really couldn't. Mama was everything to me. But also, my big brother was everything to me as well. I mean, I placed a lot of things on both of them. I was just a support. I'm the youngest guy. I have to support them both. It never occurred to me that I was getting trained to be a primary and then to live on my own. And that was the hardest damn thing for me to deal with. Even to this day, I'm caretaker to both of them. Some days I can get through it, and other days it gets harder and harder. And right now, it's getting harder and harder, where I have to continuing to talk and talk and talk, because it's the only damn thing I can do without driving myself insane. Or perhaps even doing the stuff I'm driving myself insane, but I still got to get the stories out anyway. I still have to talk about it. I still have to communicate about this damn thing. I still have to get it off my damn chest and my heart. Because I'll tell you the truth, I'm still scared shitless. Most days. I tore my ass apart that day. Losing Mama. And it was sunny. And it was not raining. But the day that she was dying, we had a storm system moving in. 2 or 3 days the damn thing rained. Light to nearly heavy. And Dave and I were dealing with the rain. We came out of Ma's room after the paperwork was filled out. And it was raining. Ma always did love the rain. She loved watching it. She loved listening to it. I kept looking at it as the heavens were crying. And there were tears of joy or tears of sadness for our faces. There were tears of sadness, loss, pain, anger, fear. Everything rolled up in one damn knot in our guts. We had to borrow somebody from a meeting hall. Helped with the transition a bit that day. Brought back to the meeting hall, came home, and cried our eyeballs out. I mean, really cried our eyeballs. I mean, we were crying in the car. We were crying. And then later that day, we cried after we got the phone call from the doctors saying that she slipped already. Sliding away. And it hurt like hell. It hurt like hell. Went to the meeting hall and we shared and damn near destroyed ourselves. Every anniversary comes up regarding February. It was never the easiest damn thing. Even when I was going over to college, good old AV, the days I was actually going over there, I'd deal with the classes, but I still had to see some help regarding it because I couldn't deal back then and even up to now of the anniversary. We're coming up on 10 years regarding Mama. 10 years. It's still hard as hell to deal with. End it right now. But I'll try to do part two when I can.